Dana White in a recent Instagram live with Kevin Aioli speaks on whether a fight between Jorge Masvidal vs Conor McGregor will ever happen. He also speaks on whether Max Holloway deserves a third fight with Alexander Volkanovski.
All right, so here's one that you'll like. Jorge Masvidal versus Conor McGregor. Is that fight ever going to happen?
I don't know. I don't know how many times I got to say Conor McGregor's retired, but Conor McGregor's retired.
What does USADA say about that?
USADA?
Isn't he still in the testing pool? I think.
Yeah, probably. But people have retired and stayed in the testing pool before.
Okay.
It has happened before, and then they get tired of it and bail out of it.
I think this is a good question. What's happening with Holloway? Most people thought he won the fight. What do you do with him next? It's tough to give him another title fight after he's lost 2 in a row to the same guy, but most people thought he won this last fight.
I agree, and it's probably not tough to give him the third fight, considering how that thing went down. But I don't know. Again, let both these guys go home, spend some time. And it sucks for Volkanovski to have the title go home with everybody saying, you didn't win the fight. You didn't win the fight. He won the fight.
Right.
He won the fight. He got the decision. You can agree with it, disagree with it, whatever you want to. The judges that night gave him the fight, and I got to get back to the drawing board and figure out what's next for these two.
Recently, a fan tweeted at Ben Askren saying, "If Masvidal asked you to help coach him in wrestling for a future camp versus Marty, would you?" Ben Askren responded back saying, "Don't think so." Michael Bisping on the Believe in Me podcast speaks on Rose Namajunas' performance against Jessica Andrade.
She's like a ballet dancer in there. It's poetic. It really is. It's poetry in motion. She's absolutely phenomenal. The coaches have done a great job, and she just had such a great corner because they kept cutting to her corner. And Pat Barry, that's her fiance. He used to be a fighter in the UFC, obviously, just giving great advice. And Trevor Whitman, he's one of the best minds in the game. He gave her a ton of great advice. And yeah, she's just, perfectly in balance, picks her shots well. She's great. But I gotta give credit to Andrade because I said, because I was the commentator to try and get us to highlight certain areas, and I said, well, keys to victory for Andrade will be to utilize head movement, right? And hell, her head was like this all night long, because in the first fight, much like the second, Rose was picking her apart at a distance, and I said she needs to use a lot of head movement and she'll be harder to hit. Certainly in the third round, she landed some heavy shots. Rose was pretty bust up. That eye, as you said, a lot of blood coming from the nose. But I feel it was clear cut, 2-1 to Rose in that fight. And you are right, there is grounds for a rubber match.
What's up, everybody? It is 7 p.m. almost, heading over to the Flash Forum Arena here in Abu Dhabi. Last pre-show, then we've got the fights tomorrow. Davison versus Figueiredo 2. What am I saying? Benavidez versus Figueiredo 2. Title fight, so check that one out on ESPN or BT Sport or whatever country you live in, whatever flipping network they use. Been here for 2 weeks. Sleeping through the day, working through the night. It's been a little bit of a ball ache, but I'm happy to be here. Happy for the opportunity. Thank you to Dana White and the UFC. But go home almost tomorrow, Sunday morning. Beautiful hotel. The staff here in Abu Dhabi are amazing, and the hotel is beautiful, as I said. You can't beat your own bed. Cannot wait.
this is really bad. I guess I play too much for these dudes. This dude. Nobody wants to sit. Nobody sits in the front seat with me. They think I play too much. Man, forget both of y'all, actually.
Rose Namajunas on Sirius XM explains how her mentality was different going into the rematch with Jessica Andrade.
Yes and no. I mean, I think just psychologically, I think nobody embarrassed me like that ever in a fight. So that was something that I had to overcome. But at the same time, I was just so ready and I was so well prepared. And yeah, like I agree with you. I do better when I know my opponent more. So that helps. But it's a little more daunting. Sometimes there's more to think about. But at the same time, you are a little more comfortable because you kind of know a little bit of what to expect, or at least you can kind of create the variables in which you think is most likely going to happen. So I was just so prepared and very confident in myself that this is one of the best feelings that I've had going into a fight. I mean, there's always that chance, but just after any fight. But depending, not necessarily the actual result, win or loss, but how the fight would have gone there's no safe fight. Like, you're always at a risk of something happening. But if I came out of that fight feeling like as if I still have it in me to take care of myself at all times and I can do this, then that's what was going to keep me going. And right now my purpose is more specific. Obviously the goal is to become champion once again, and I truly believe that's what's going to happen, just byproduct of me being the best in the world. Well, it's still in the process. It's probably going to take about a month to unwind from. We're in the process of now, just doing the little things. Like we always say after a fight, it's never over really until like a week or two later, because you got this is a bunch of little stuff that you got to do.
Brian Kelleher on his Instagram breaks down a potential fight between Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling.
All I could say is I think Sterling's a real test for Yan. I think stylistically that's a great idea to see where Yan's grappling is, where his defensive ability is, how how can he deal with Aljamain's length, his kicks, his volumes. I don't see it phasing Petr Yan much, fighting a guy like Aldo who throws a little bit more power. He boxes really well. He has speed. He has, hooks to the body, hard leg kicks. I don't think any kind of kick is going to phase Yan with Aljo, but I do think stylistically it is a tough and different fight for Yan for his first title defense. Hopefully that's the fight. I think Yan will get it done, probably later in the rounds. But I'd like to see the fight go to the ground, man, because I think Sterling has, some of the best grappling in the game. He's a high-level black belt under Serra, and I think if he could take Yan's back or get in a good position on the ground, he could potentially do damage, ground and pound and submission-wise. But I gotta lean Yan. Yan's a guy that I can never count out or bet against from here on out, to be honest.
Keep moving. Come on, push. Top. Come on. Let's go. Get it up. Come on. Toss it up. Don't let it drop, Justin. Good, let's go. Good, come on. Catch. Good, redirect. Let me see it. Good catch. Come on. Good, come on. Go get it.